Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayua Mesali, and today, another Messi and Uwa Monday.
Hello.
Hi, Messi.
Hello, Uwa. How are you? Please don't make me smile too much, I beg.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good to see you.
Messi, I want to take you to go and see my governor.
Okay. When are we leaving? Are we leaving tonight?
Is it? Not
is there
tonight,
a private jet to leave with?
No. I don't have private jets.
What's the agenda? Because I don't know.
The agenda, we're going to book a commercial flight. I'm going to fly down to Delta, Edo State.
Okay.
That's the agenda.
So you tell me the agenda after that. Okay.
That's it.
Because I don't know.
www. That's it. How was your weekend?
Very well. Very well. Very restful.
Any news? What happened?
Nothing quite out of the ordinary. Basically, you remember I told you I had a tournament. I mean, it was just sporting event and all of that. So basically that and work and we're here. But I literally ensured that I made it quite restful, for health reasons and, what have you. So yeah, it's good to be here today.
Awesome. All right. So if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please head on to @OfficialUpgrade and go like, share, and subscribe to our channel. So tonight, in partnership with Enough is Enough, we'll be discussing 16 days of activism, mobilizing against gender-based violence. And we have with us Wemimo Adewumi. She is a media and communications manager at WARDC. And she's also here to join in, right, and do justice to the topic on gender-based violence. Hi, Wemimo.
Hi, good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so this subject of gender-based violence, right? First of all, let me just put out what everybody says, but they are afraid to say it because they are afraid to get cancelled. Why are we always having issues around gender-based violence and it's always women? They feel like our own self is too much. Everything gender-based violence. Why is that still a topic of conversation till now?
So this is 8:04. In 6 minutes' time, it will be 8:10. In that amount of time, about 11 women would have been killed across the world. So that's why it's important. The UN just announced that every 10 minutes, about 11 women are killed, and they're killed by intimate partners or family members. So yes, women don't just want to make noise. It is a real problem. Violence against women and girls is very real in various shades and forms. So we must talk about it. I mean, to dedicate a whole 16 days to a topic means that it's really crucial and it's affecting a majority of people. Women are not in the minority. I love to say this over and over. In Nigeria, women make up about 50% of the population. That is not a minority. So issues that affect that number of women across Nigeria, across Africa, across the world, both in the workplace, both in healthcare, in politics, everywhere, in every sector, women are marginalized. And until we move and get to a place where there is equity, justice, and fairness in access to opportunity, we will keep talking.
Awesome. But let's quickly do a review because I'll come to Messi now. In your opinion, right, I mean, there were really prominent cases of domestic violence that even resulted to death, right? Even right here in Nigeria, right? In your opinion, do you think our justice system is doing well when it comes to resolving issues around gender-based violence in Nigeria?
From our organization, we have a press statement that's going out early tomorrow morning. And in that, you see, I wrote something about the progress. I love to also count our gains. There's been some progress made. And we can see the progress in the enactment and the creation of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in 2015. That's a massive gain. This is because before the VAP Act, there weren't so many strong points in the Constitution under which women could sue or challenge injustices to them on various fronts. In fact, our Constitution in Nigeria, unfortunately, grants power to a man to beat his wife. I hope you read that. There are so many parts of the existing constitution that is dangerous to the existence of women. So what the VAP Act does is that it then gives women rights organizations and women to be able to go to court and challenge injustices to themselves. So there has been some move. For us also at WhatC, we've gone beyond just, so there is now a VAP Act nationally. Amazing. State governments need to domesticate the act. And we've been very, very vocal in pushing for state government. It's also awesome news that as of today, 34 states have now domesticated the VAP Act. That is amazing news. But we're not stopping there. We're saying, all right, so you're domesticating the VAP Act, but you also need to put your money where your mouth is. It's one thing to have the law. If women do not have the empowerment to then demand for the implementation of that law, a lot of lawyers still do not know about the VAP Act. When there's a rape case and it's to the police station, the police officers still do not understand the VAP Act. So there is still a wide gap. We are taking a step further to ask state governments to create a fund to end sexual and gender-based violence. That's our call in the spirit of activism, that state by state, there is a fund set aside to provide legal aid for victims and survivors and psychosocial support for survivors to ensure that judges, police, every first responder is also trained to know what to do, where to go, what evidence to preserve. There are shelters created for women in state. This is when we are addressing the issue. If we just say go to, many women stay in abusive relationships because they have nowhere to go. We run a shelter at WhatC, and we know how dire the need is for victims, women and girls who need a place to stay so that they can live abusive environments. States need to own this also.
All right, so I want to take you on the fact that we have seen that there's been efforts, legislative measures, and enforcement seem to be, not consistent. And then you still have, with the level of awareness, you still have cases underreported. So what's the way forward? What's your organization doing? What can the people do? How can we get beyond just having this legislation and ensuring that, there's enforcement on the side of the law and, those who are actually meting out this act are being made to face the law. And then also that, there's a level of people just don't continue to keep quiet, because we know that the culture of silence is still ongoing despite the level of awareness. So how do we move beyond all of this?
There is a lot in what you just asked, and there's a lot to be done to move us from where we are to where we need to be. Regarding the law, like I said, it's fabulous news that the VAP Act is now domesticated. Women need to know that they now have a legal instrument by law with which they can challenge injustices to them. As you might also know, the legislators, the National Assembly is trying to repeal the VAP Act, and women's rights organizations had kicked against the repeal because a repeal means that you are yanking off the act, which took years before it was finally passed into law. So we are in discussions with the legislature and with other women's rights organizations. WhatC is also championing this course to say, why do we want to repeal the VAP Act? So one of the lawmakers is saying there are lines in the VAP Act that could be better. So we're sitting with them to say, all right, what are these lines that you think should be amended or expunged? You need to carry us along. So we are actively, very actively, capital letters, sitting with the legislature to look at this law line by line so that when it's presented before the Senate, it represents the yearnings, the needs and the gaps that exist for women in Nigeria. So the VAP creates a strong legislative tool, legal tool for women. State by state, there is still a large need for states, like I said earlier, to take ownership. I know that we pushed for them to domesticate the act. Now that it's domesticated, the states need to do more and realize that there is a pressing issue. So now begin to train first responders, the police in the state. How do we have gender desk within the state? Many states are doing well. Lagos is doing very well, very responsive to gender-based violence cases. They have an active team, and we really commend them for that. Other states can also pick up from here and, begin training for their workers, for their staff, for health practitioners to know how to preserve evidence in the case of rape or assault. Officers need to be trained in psychological support when women or girls come to them. We don't any longer want to hear things like, what were you wearing? Why were you there? You're female, so just go back home. We don't want them to take bribes and shut down the cases. We want stronger reporting mechanisms and tools so states can take more ownership in these matters.
Awesome. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We had so much to talk about this, but we are grateful for organizations like yours, and Enough is Enough, that is championing the cause of, promoting the health and well-being of women. Thank you so much, Wemimo. All right, so
thank you for having me.
Tonight, we want to have a conversation. This endorsement of Seyi Tinubu, the son of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the candidate for the Lagos State gubernatorial elections that is coming up in 2027, and of course, coupled with the recent comments on from the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. So that's the conversation we're having. And here's what we found to that in that light. We found a quote: "We're not just running for office, we are running for the future of our children." And this was from our Labour Party candidate, Gbadebo Rhodes Viva. All right, so we'll take a very, very short break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us now. The International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women is observed on November 25 each year, and it was established by the United Nations in 1999 to raise awareness about gender-based violence. This date honors the Maribel sisters, 3 Dominican activists who were assassinated in 1960 for opposing dictatorship. The day marks the beginning of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which runs until December the 10th. So I'm really happy that, Enough is Enough is also championing this. Mercy, quickly, what did you find for us in the news?
All right, so I found this one. It says that Nigeria has saved $20 billion from subsidy removal and Naira float policy. And you have Wale Edu quoted on that. And I just have a couple of questions to ask. If we have actually saved that amount of money, $20 billion from these policies, then why are we still borrowing? Because just recently, the president had wrote to the National Assembly seeking the approval to borrow funds to actually fund the budget. And don't forget that we're already elapsing the budget cycle period. December. So usually we're supposed to be preparing for the next budget cycle. That's from December. As we speak, that's what's obtainable. So I'm just asking, why are we still borrowing?
So that's the thing. Sometimes I feel like the government is talking from two sides of the mouth. You say you have saved money, and yet you are still looking for...
Yeah, I've gone to borrow and it's been approved.
Well, we will look for an economist to answer that question. NAF airstrike kills several terrorists in Lake Chad. The air component of the operations, Hadin Kai, has destroyed a terrorist food depot and killed several insurgents during the airstrike on their enclave at Jubilaram in Tombom area of Lake Chad Basin. This was revealed in a statement released by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Olushola Akimbo Yewa. Of course, he stated that the aircraft carried out an operation on the 23rd of November at a strategic location identified through meticulous intelligence effort. And the locations were described as a critical food storage site and a sanctuary for terrorist commanders and fighters. I think this is a commendable,
Development.
Development. And we are looking forward to more of this because we've said it. these people, they are not living under the rock. Even if they are living under the rock, there's technology to find the people that are living under the rock. So we'll take a break now. When we come back from that break, let's discuss Seyi Tinubu and Mudashiru Obasa. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, the recent endorsement of Seyi Tinubu, son of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the 2027 governorship elections have sparked significant political debate in Nigeria. The coalition of Nigerian youth leaders officially endorsed him, citing his leadership qualities and his father's legacy. And this has been met with support from groups like the Friends of Seyi Tinubu, that's FOST, which highlighted his philanthropic effort. However, this endorsement have faced backlash from critics who argue that Seyi's candidacy represents an attempt to establish a political dynasty in Lagos. And they call for a more democratic approach to leadership. Now, compounding the situation, Speaker Mudashiru Obasa made headlines during the representation of the 2025 Lagos budget, the presentation rather of the Lagos 2025 budget, by asserting his own qualifications for governorship, positioning himself as a contender against Seyi Tinubu. Now, his comments underscored the growing tension within Lagos's political landscape as various stakeholders prepare for the upcoming elections. Now, to discuss these political buzz surrounding endorsements ahead of the 2027 election, we're in 2024 and we're already discussing 2027. God will help us in Nigeria. He's a lawyer and a development economist, Barrister Fred Nzeako. Then we have Honorable Kabir Olalekan, Zakaria Oniwa, the State Organizing Secretary of the New People's Party, Lagos, and also a broadcast journalist and public affairs analyst, Taiwo Olapade. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. This matter is so serious that we had to gather three guests. But I don't know where I'm starting from. First of all, I mean, is it out of the ordinary for a Seyi Tinubu to want to become, what's it called, Lagos State Governor? Is it out of the ordinary? Let me come to you, Barrister. Let me start with you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Do we have Barrister? Okay, let's go to, okay, Barrister, are you there?
How are you doing?
Yes, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. So I said, is this out of the ordinary for a Seyi Tinubu to want to be the next governor of Lagos State? Is it far-fetched?
The Constitution makes provision for who is qualified to run for the office of the governor of a state. One condition is that the fellow must be a Nigerian citizen. The Constitution also talks about who a citizen is. So the fellow must be at least 35 years of age. It was eventually brought down. It used to be 35. By the new amendment, it was brought down to 30 years. And then the person must be qualified to ordinarily run for House of Representatives. And the condition for qualification for running for House of Representatives is if you have a school cert, school living certificate attempt. It did not say whether you have got credit in English and mathematics, or maybe you have made your 5 credits in school cert. But provided you are a school certificate holder, which is a WAEC or GCE or NECO equivalent, then you are not an undischarged bankrupt, and the person is not a lunatic. Once those conditions are met, a citizen is authorized and constitutionally capable of running for the office of the governor. So, Mr. Seyi Tinubu, if he meets all those conditions stated in our constitution, why not? He is as free as any other citizen to run for the office of the governor of Lagos State. And same is with Mr. Mudashiru Obasa, who himself has been a long-standing member of Lagos State House Assembly and has been Speaker of that house for up to 2 or 3 terms. So invariably, both gentlemen are qualified to run for the office of the governor. And any other person for that matter who indicates interest in running for the office, such a fellow is free to run. It is left for the people of Lagos, the electorate, to decide and determine who they will give their mandate on the day of voting. It is that mandate that determines who will be the governor after the current term of Governor Sanwo-Olu, which will terminate in 2027.
All right, let me come to Taiwo now. Taiwo, we're looking at the time where this conversation is being had. Do you think that with the laws that we have, the electoral laws and the Constitution, it is very lawful to start having a conversation about, an election in 2027, in 2024?
Well, thank you so much. For politicians, 20 years is like today or it's like tomorrow. Politicians, they don't wait for the day to be knocking on their doors or the years to be knocking on their doors before they react. They are always very proactive in their nature and their attitude. So it is we ordinary citizens, ordinary Nigerians that will be thinking like, what is going on? What are they talking about 2027 while we are still, barely into about 2 years into the current administration? So be that as it may, just like the barrister at law has rightly highlighted, what qualifies someone to want to contest for the governorship election in Lagos State or elsewhere. I think the endorsement coming from the coalition of Nigerian youth leaders, from across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, for Mr. Seyi Tinubu, to many looks like it's coming too early. And I say this because, number one, they also made mention of the fact that the legacy left behind in Lagos, that they have done a widespread of appraisal of Seyi Tinubu, and they felt like he can't consolidate on what legacies his father left behind as governor of Lagos State between 1999 and 2007. Like the barrister already pointed out, Seyi Tinubu, as a citizen of the country, the onus is on him to want to accept this endorsement from this group or, do otherwise. And as regards the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Obasa, currently is the longest serving member of the Lagos State House of Assembly. By 2027, Right Honorable Obasa will have also been the longest serving Speaker by record in the country. The person that holds that record is also from Lagos before, and that was the former Speaker of Lagos House of Assembly, Right Honorable Adeyemi Kuforiji, as the longest serving, who served in that capacity for 10 years. And Obasa is almost also clocking 10 years. And by the time he continues his speakership till 2027, definitely he will have also erased the record of Adeyemi Kuforiji. And by then he will be the longest, having served for 12 years, and that's about 3 terms as members of the Lagos House of Assembly. Just like I said, by that 2027, Obasa will have been in the House of Assembly for about 5 times, and that's about 20 years altogether. We know we returned to democratic rule in 1999, and at the moment, we have done about 26 years unbroken practice of democratic rule. So imagine somebody who has served as a lawmaker for about 20 years and have also served as speaker for 10, 12 years within that spectrum. So he's also qualified, as the case may be, to also run as the governor of the state. Bearing in mind that at the moment he's number 3 in Lagos State. So if he so wish, if he so desire, why not? And I'm happy that he also he also made his intention known, in a way during that budget presentation by saying that he's also more than qualified. As a lawmaker, he has been there, he has the experience, And also, somebody who has also worked with the, of course, he worked with former governor of Lagos State, Governor Governor Fashola. He also worked with Governor Ambode in that capacity as the speaker. Now he's also serving with the current governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. But whether they endorse them or not, we are still waiting for either Seyi Tinubu, as is popularly called ST, to come and let the cat out of the bag, to come to us and say,
you know, but
Now really come to go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, so
and the same thing is also applicable to Mudashiru Obasa to come out clean and tell us if
are we, Taiwo, are we
also
supposed to be encouraging them? Let me bring Fred right now at this point. Barrister Fred, it's a good thing that you're a legal practitioner. We understand that as citizens, we have a right to vote and be voted for. That is not contested as long as it's in the Constitution. But we're also looking at, you know, the laws that governs all of this. We're looking at the Constitution itself. We're looking at the Electoral Act itself. And we're also looking at, you know, the timing. Do you think that it's right for politicians to be promoting and prompting who becomes, you know, the next governorship candidate or presidential candidate for 2027? Barrister Fred?
Oh, you're muted. If you're talking, Barrister Fred, we can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the muting comes from your own end. You are the one muting my sister. But if you can hear me now, what I'm saying is that I think it is too early in the day to begin to talk about 2027 election in all seriousness. Yes, the planning can be going on underground. The alliances, the networking, the building of bridges can be going on underground, subterraneanly. But to begin to canvass openly who will be what, it is too early in the day. We just left the 2023 election barely 1.5 years ago. What should be worrying everybody today is how well are we how
well is governance? Yes.
How well is the governance going on? And then what are the ones in authority? What are they doing right and what are they not doing right? And then where do we need to patch up and where do we need to amend? How do we bring governance to bear on the welfare and the life of the people? What is the performance index of those in authority? These are, or rather, performance indices of those in authority. These are the things that should be worrying most Nigerians. While politicians themselves, yes, they could be planning towards 2027. There's nothing bad about it. Especially those of them who do not have political office. Like, and Mudashiru Obasa, for example, is the speaker. While he is on that seat, he should pay more attention to the issues of Lagos State than for his ambition towards 2027. But you cannot take away any planning from politicians. And of course, you cannot shoot somebody out from ambition. It's good to have an ambition, but it is always good.
But should that not be done within the confines of the law? That's what we're asking.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You get to do that within the bounds of the law. As of today, I do not expect that serious politicking should start. No, not now. It is too early in the day.
It's too early. Okay, so let's go on a very short break, right? When we come back from that break, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're having a conversation around this new political drama going on about Seyi Tinubu and Obasa, Mudashiru Obasa, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also call our phone lines. The numbers to call are 07025007749 or 07014242420. All right, so I want to come back to the barrister. Then I would also love to hear Mr. Lokpade's, what's it called, insight on this. So word on the streets, it's not me that said it, word on the streets is that, first of all, this this drama happening around candidacy for 2027 is just to get the pause of the people. Like, let's just throw it in and let us see how the people would react to that, right? That's word of the street. And secondly, the reason Seyi Tinubu is being thrown in the eye of the public to just get the pulse of the people is what's it called? It's an offshoot of what happened in the 2023 elections. Because who would have thought that a Gbadebo Road survivor would really, really give an APC, a Sanwo-Olu, a run for his money, to the point that Governor Sanwo-Olu was going to every door in different estates, knocking, him and his wife, knocking on every door, trying to connect with people just to be able to secure his second term, right? So people are of the opinion that these things are intentional. It might not be that they are ready for heavy politicking, but they are just going in that strategy to just feel the pulse of the people so they can understand how people would respond to a Seyi Tinubu's governorship candidacy. Do you agree with that school of thought, or is there something else, that is fueling this kinds of conversation at this very, very unholy time?
Ordinarily, if not for the fact that Seyi is the son of the president of Nigeria, I do not think that his political ambition or issues around him would have made headline and have been a matter for public discussion at this point. But the fact that he's the son of the president, sitting president, has made it slightly different from the ordinary situation. And that is why people are beginning to talk, both publicly and privately. And like I said earlier, that with his having the ambition to become the governor of Lagos State, there's also nothing wrong with any other person having the same ambition. But what is critical and most important, which every Lagosian must worry about, is the fact that the votes of the people must count whenever the whistle is blown for real politics. It's the fact that people must be allowed to determine who their leader, who their governor would be, and not on the strength of the fact that, oh, it is Mr. A or Mr. B, because of the position of Mr. A or Mr. B, then the voices of the people will be muzzled,
suppressed,
and then the mandate of the people will be snatched and voted away with. What is critical at every election is, have you allowed people to decide their franchise constitutionally, and have you allowed their votes to count? Irrespective of who they voted for, is immaterial. And that is why in an advanced democracy, like you had in the United States, when George Bush was the president and his son was a senator and another son of his was a governor, all at the same time. At a point, the two Bush sons were governors in different states, and their father was the president. So that is democracy. If the people decide, so be it. If President Tinubu, as a sitting president, and his son becomes the sitting governor, what is critical and what is important is that the people elected him. That's all.
Okay.
Anything short of that will not be acceptable. And if anybody is thinking that, oh, because his father is the president, therefore it will be a fait accompli, it will be like a walkover. Democracy does not operate like that.
Okay.
Democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Most importantly, it must be by the people. And whoever the people elect should be given a chance to govern.
Okay, so let me come to Mr. Olopade. Do you agree that this flaunting a Seyi Tinubu, for instance, is because of the pressure that Gbadebo Rosevivor's candidacy put on the last elections? Do you agree with that school of thought?
Well, I totally agree. In the sense that, let me give a bit of background. I said earlier, and I still want to reiterate, that ordinary citizens, it is
Oh, sugar. We're having challenge with your network. Okay. I think Barrister would like to chime in into that conversation. Barrister, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So do you want to just quickly answer that part of the question because you stylishly skipped it?
Can I have the question?
Yes, go ahead. I'm saying that the pressure, I mean, flaunting a Seyi Tinubu, for instance, is it as a result of the pressure of a Gbadebo Road survivor in the 2023 election? Do you think that that applies?
You know, ordinarily, I don't fancy political gesturing. I mean, opinion gesturing. I am more inclined to discussing core issues rather than opinions. Rose Vival made a very strong impression in the last election. And I believe that if his party gives him mandate in 2027, he may even perform much better than his last performance. But I am a constitutional lawyer who believes in rule of law and constitutionalism. At all times, I will want the vote of the people to count. At all times, I will want the mandate of the people not to be truncated. At all times, I will want democracy to develop and not to be muzzled up. And as far as there is freedom of the people to decide their leadership, you can see me there. So any other thing may lie in the realm of conjecture, in the realm of opinionation, and in the realm of mental and intellectual manipulation. Politics is all about that. But I tell you that for now, we should be more interested and worried about the goings on in the country. Today, the National Bureau of Statistics released some figures that runs contrary to the realities on ground. When the financial services sector is growing and the life of the people is growing in the opposite direction, and that does not add up, because when you have growth without development, the country can have increased GDP with very, very reduced or even negative welfare and human development indices. And when it happens, it tells you that the country is growing without development. And we should be worried that Nigeria is growing, our budget is increasing. By the next year, the government is thinking about for something trillion naira in budget, whereas the life expectancy of the people, the welfare of the people, the disposable income in the house of the people are all going down. We should worry about all those things. It means that the government is not doing well, both at state and national level, at national and subnational level, and a lot of things need to be done to improve the life and welfare of Nigeria, and not unnecessary politics. Politics without government.
But Barrister Fred, I mean, it's still part of the conversation that we're having, because if you look at it at the end of the day, this whole prompting has gotten a lot of people speaking. And some of the thoughts that you hear right now is the fact that this particular projection is breeding nepotism. And we understand what nepotism is. So if we have a system that is nepotistic, then you're definitely not going to have government or development closer to the people. It's necessarily not the interest of the people. So I think that is, as much as we understand, that other issues, this is also very critical for development. When we begin to have politicians who are supposed to be concerned about, I mean, I'm taken aback that a lot of people are engaged in all of this, not necessarily that the president himself is having this conversation, but however, some people would say that you probably might have people who are sponsoring. Maybe there might just be undertone of these persons who are projecting themselves and gathering people to have this conversation. So first off, it's disheartening that we're not even close to a second year of a new tenure, and then we're having a conversation about 2027 where we literally don't even have an idea what will happen, as though we have control of life and what have you. So I think that it's very critical to speak to these issues. When politicking begins to take the forefront of governance, then you know that the people are suffering. And that's why we're having, you know, economic development and growth on papers, and it's not reflecting in the lives of the people. So on this particular note, how do we, you know, change this narrative? First off, do you think that this is nepotistic? You have said that, you know, this is democracy. I don't know how democratic that is. There's nothing wrong, but in a situation where in Lagos State, you understand the antecedent and the history already in Lagos State, that the president, the current president, was former governor of Lagos State, has already in Lagos State like a stronghold, and then you also have a son who's been prompted or who's been projected to become the next governor in 2027, far away from now. So it begs for a lot of questions, and so the question will now be: do you think that this is really democracy? Do you think that this is allowing governance, you know, to take its front seat as it should take? Because there are other issues of national concerns that you have spoken. And so what can we then do, you know, to move away from this? Do we need more legislation? Or what do we really do to get these politicians, you know, together to understand that things are not supposed to be done the way they're doing it?
has a lot of things to take off her chest. But Barrister, quickly, can you respond to that? Because I believe there's somebody on standby on the call.
The easiest way to lead the people on the line of development is to educate them. So the very best way to lead Nigerian people is to give them education. Apart from voter electoral education, they need to understand the power of the people. And like I said earlier, the power lies in the hands of the people, irrespective of who is in Aso Rock, or irrespective of who is running for the governor of Lagos or indeed of any state. The people must ensure that their votes are respected and their mandate is sacrosanct. That is most critical. Okay. I cannot see nepotism in any of these. I can see nepotism in other aspects, but in this particular case, I cannot see nepotism. All I see is that if the people are docile and almost every time the wool is pulled across their eyes and they keep sleeping, then it's their own doing. It's their own doing. But if the people are vigilant and awake to their responsibility, they will realize that the power lies in their thumb. And that is what we call democracy.
I absolutely agree with you. Okay, so let me come back to Taiwo. Taiwo, we lost you for a minute or two there. Do you agree with Barrister? And you were trying to give me an analogy about Seyi Tinubu and Gbadebo before your network went off. Do you want to continue on that as well?
Okay, I was saying that number one, Seyi Tinubu should be around, I don't know his actual age, but definitely he should be around 40, 41, 42.
I think he's in
max.
his 30s, though.
And if you also look at the age of Gbadebo, of course, Gbadebo should be senior maybe for a few years or thereabout. So it is possible that people want to look at it from the angle of, oh, let's give power to the youths. But power is also not served a la carte. You have to struggle for it. You have to fight for it. And I want to reiterate my points earlier stated that for we as ordinary Nigerians, we may say 2027 is far away. But for politicians, they think proactively. That's where they think. They don't think like you and I. You remember that
you mean they think proactively when it's about their interests?
Please, let me land. A political party said, and I'm referring to PDP, when they came into power, they said they were going to rule for 60 years in this same country that we all belong to. You remember that statement? But sadly, that 60 years was cut short at around about 16 years. So just like the barrister said, the power lies with the people, with we Nigerians. And that is why we must canvass for electoral reform so that we can duly elect people of our choice. If it is a case of our electoral reform is up and doing, is upright, is transparent, is just, then whoever wants to run can run. And you remember that, again, political party will also do primaries. According to Electoral Act, a candidate can emerge either through a party's primary or through endorsement. We have not even reached that stage. I know that people also want to test the muddy waters. That's exactly what we are saying now. Talking about Mr. Seyi Tinubu or talking about Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa,
the current Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. If tomorrow I so wish, I so desire that I also want to throw my hat into the ring, why not? It's a free world.
You have to test your popularity. I mean, it's a common practice amongst politicians. You have to test your popularity.
You may also want to test your own popularity by saying, I want to run for governorship in Lagos State or your state of origin. So be it. It's a free world. Whoever wants to run, have the right to run.
But Mr. Taiwo, no one. I'm not saying that it's not a free world and they do not have the right. Like I stated earlier on, the Constitution clearly stated you and I have a right to vote and be voted for. But then, no, but I'm giving. Sorry, I actually allowed you to land. I actually did allow you to land. And my concern here is, are we looking at the confines of the law? What does the law, the Constitution speaks to this? The 1999 Constitution, the Electoral Act. No, you said that. No, just hold on, because we cannot continue. Evil will continue to thrive in our country when we don't do the right things. And what we're asking now is, as much as it is within the right of anybody to say, hey, they want to contest or whatever it is, there are other aspects to it. We're saying that, is it done with accordance within the ambience of the law, the provision of the law? We're yet to clock, the second year of this administration, however it is, and we're already prompting, is that right? Are there laws that, give this? Can we have this kind of conversation? Is it okay to have this conversation? Because we know that when we start this, what now happens is that governance take the back front, politicking and politics begin to take the front burner, and the people begin to suffer. That's what we're saying. You say they are proactive, but are they really proactive for the interest of Nigerians, or they are proactive when it becomes their own interest? Because it's politicking is their interest. Is it really for the people? So I think that we need to just get all of this literally right. Nobody's saying he doesn't have a right. He does have a right. There are also other concerns that people have raised, saying we understand that, first off, his father had, antecedent of being the Lagos State governor. We don't even have a system where it's very transparent in terms of election and conduct. We see the kind of violence. We see everything that happens. And so these are concerns that people have. And I'm asking, and I'm saying, how can this be? Are we not moving to a monarchy kind of system of governance? Or is this not nepotism? As the people are asking.
Okay. I believe Kabir is on the call because he's been holding off. But Mercy, calm down. We'll get to you. But Kabir, quickly, do you want to chime into this conversation quickly?
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Anyway, this is my take. Mr. Seyi Tinubu, he has rights, as people said, based on Constitution of the Nigeria. Having said that, the Lagos State people, whether citizens of Lagos or the residents of Lagos, it's left for them to choose between the Seyi Tinubu or Mr. Speaker or anybody that are ready to contest for the governorship of this Lagos State. But the question is this: any environment or any community or society that believe or they don't care about integrity, about who you are. Any society that believes in money,
okay,
not go anywhere.
Wow.
For instance, these so-called people, whether Tinubu or the people in authority, they have studied the situation on ground. That if we stop these people, when we need them, we will just give them rice, beans, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. Then we will find our way. There is a problem.
Absolutely.
We should ask Mr. Seyi Tinubu, what is father, Mr. President, forget to do for us in Lagos, that you want to come and do it?
Okay.
We should ask.
We should ask that question. All right, let me take a comment on YouTube. It says, watching from Ed Worry, North West London. Both guys are not proper Lagosians. They are, what's this? Ajele? What does that mean? I don't know. Okay, so because we ran out of time, we were talking and we just looked at the time and the time has disappeared. Barrister, I'll give you like 2 minutes, to wrap up your thoughts. Then I'll come to Mr. Lokpade. Then just wrap up your thoughts. What are your final thoughts on this conversation? I believe Mr. Lokpade has a response to Messi, so you can bring that in. Just tell us your final thoughts.
Yes, my final thought is to ask Nigerians to keep educating the uneducated towards the realization that democracy gives power to the people and that the mandate of the people determines who sits on any particular seat. They should not begin to think that, oh, our votes don't count. As we approach the next election, we should expect dynamism and we should expect better outcome towards electing the people of our choice who will lead this country at both national and subnational level. That way, our country will make progress.
Thank you so much. All right, so let me come to you, Mr. Olopade.
Okay, thank you so much. My final word on the program tonight, I will start by saying that, number one, I am not speaking for either Seyi Tinubu or Mr. Speaker or even the party they belong to, which is APC. I'm just stating the obvious as a journalist and as a Nigerian. And I also pick holes in what Mr. Kabir said regarding mentioning Tinubu. All our political class, our politicians, all of them are the same. Across board, we have 18 political parties in the country. Let any one of those party members comes out and tell us if they don't give bribe, if they don't give money to entice electorates during election. There is no political party, but we can easily, narrow down to PDP and APC because they have been in the ruling party for years and they have acquired illegal wealth from our national treasury. That's a fact that nobody can really say it is not. So all politicians across board, they are the same. We saw what happened in Edo governorship election. As APC was giving money, PDP was also giving money. We saw people that said they gave us money, they said it in Yoruba to vote for them, and we collected it. There is no political party that doesn't entice electorates or people during election. But what we must all clamor for is a political process that is transparent, that is just. And that's why I said earlier that we must demand for a political reform so that our vote in the long run will count. If they bring money to you, collect the money, but vote your conscience.
Absolutely.
And that's my final word on the program tonight.
Okay. Messi will have a comment.
It's quite lengthy.
He said, I really? Yeah, stuff from I really.
So, what do you say again?
I really.
I can't see.
I really don't understand.
I really don't understand what is happening again in Nigeria. Are we going forward or backward? That's the question. That is the question for now, okay, apparently. My dear beautiful sister Uwa asked a very important question. She asked why there should be talking about the governorship election in 2027 now when it's too early to talk about it. What I expect them to be discussing now is how to solve the problems of Nigeria on ground, because Nigeria is in a serious shambles. Why are we so power hungry? We are so insensitive and think awkwardly. I smell a rat here. The president wants to endorse his son for governor in 2027. He wants his son to destroy Lagos the way he destroyed Nigeria. Also, they are trying to turn everything into a family affair. We don't want that. These people are bothered about occupying office without performance and delivery. That is their plan. Your guest made mention of we, the masses, choosing people to govern us and not imposing people on us. We do not want the wrong people because they are the problems of the country. My name is Daniel Aloho. Ways regular fan.
Hello, Daniel. Hello.
Hello.
All right, thank you
Okay.
so much, Daniel. I think my final thoughts. So quickly, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that some of those things, they are quite speculative. I understand your thoughts, but, you know...
Yeah, you can't
the
drop.
president has not, you know, come out to say he's
endorsing his son. I mean, you can't...
And all of that, so still very speculative.
Very speculative. I wanted to say my final thoughts on all of this is, you see, let us be intentional about paying attention. You know how the barrister was talking about the fact that, you know, people should not, like, this should not be the focus and all of that. I said, no. As long as they are talking about it, we have to put our mouth. You see, the thing about governance and politics, a lot of us stayed away from it, right? And that is why we are where we are today. So as long as there are conversations around this, let's not be quiet. Let us be opening our mouth. Let's put our nose into the business. And let people start going into political parties. Go and get registered. Because that's the only way you can make any impact. At the ballot box, at the ballot point where you are putting your thumbprint, it's already too late. You must be part of the decision makers of the people that will eventually emerge candidates, you know, towards any position. So we should stop having to choose between the devil and the deep blue sea. Let us be choosing between an angel and another angel. That's how we should be thinking about politics. So let's get two good candidates. So whoever wins, great. So we need to be intentional about putting our mouth in that matter.
Should we get two good candidates, or should we encourage, you know, the multi-party system that we have in our country?
Whatever party system. You want to do what's it called? What's that one? The solo man system. What's the name of that thing called? Independent candidacy. Whatever it is, I'm saying that it is because a lot of people kept quiet in political matters. That's why we're where we are today. So we need to keep talking. So please go on our YouTube page and subscribe to our channel. If you missed our quote, here it is again. We're not just running for office, we are running for the future of our children. And that was from Gbadebo Roads Bible. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Ray's Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.